It is Friday morning, and we're happy to be coming to you from Anchorage, Alaska again. And I am so privileged to sit here with two missionaries. To my right, Jared Myrick, and on beyond Jared here is James Martin. And these fellows are tremendous men of God. And we've been working with them this week at the Downtown Hope Center. And so they've joined with me today for this broadcast. Guys, I want to ask you a question and let both of you respond to our audience. Why is the homeless contingent, it seems like the ones we've been dealing with, they come from different of the indigenous corporations, different areas of the state. How is it that they wind up in Anchorage?
It's just a variety of reasons. It seems like everybody has their own, but it's kind of like the prodigal son, where they think the big life is in Anchorage and all those things, and then they get here and they spend all their money, and then they get handed drugs or forced into prostitution, or all these things happen, and then they burn those bridges. Their family will help them one or two times, and then they burn those bridges so much. I've talked with family in the village that said, I just can't help them anymore.
Right. Brother Martin, even some we talked to yesterday and today indicated that they came here and they tried to, got into a mess, and some of them tried. Guys said yesterday and today, but when I was trying, people keep coming up to me and handing me either drugs or alcohol, or wanting me to go with them.
Yes.
And what?
Well, there's others that, when they break the law out in the village, they're brought here through the Department of Corrections.
Okay.
Then when they're released, many of those are on probation and they can't leave the city.
So they're here.
So they have to report to their parole officers.
Sure.
And so that complicates, then like Brother Jared said, then they get snagged even more, their relationships and all sorts of stuff, is just really, and like he said, it's just a vicious cycle in a lot of ways, and
yeah,
it's just really.
I heard today that 1 out of every 8 high school students winds up in Alaska, winds up going into the armed forces in some branch or other, that there's a huge veteran community. And I noticed over the years of coming here that a lot of that's in the soup line are veterans.
Yes, that's true.
Brother Martin, do you find a lot of them? Or
that is true, and a lot of them, there's a lot of PTSD, not just from the war involvement and so forth, but there is a lot of that.
Sure.
And just the culture of the indigenous people itself, a lot of the things that are really important to a lot of the people in the United States are not as key for people that are used to village life. That are not used to punching a clock.
Yes.
They're not used, they're used to a subsistence lifestyle.
Yes,
hunting,
sir.
Fishing, and have a lot different approach to their time.
Right.
And life, then a lot of times we think, well, it has to be just like I'm used to,
right.
Which is not always the case, but it is needful that their basic needs be taken care of,
Sure. So culture in and of itself is huge.
It is. Yes.
And among the, I was telling the students yesterday, there's 6 major people groups, and then that's divided. I don't know how many times that's divided
Right.
beyond that.
For sure.
And so each of them have a separate culture. And this is what I noticed where you guys are dealing with them here. All of those cultures can be found in one day, right
Well,
there in that alley.
That's true. And furthermore, and we deal, a lot of the ones that are in the homeless community are, I think the governors, I mean, not the governors, but the mayor's things done, I think a couple of years ago, said like 80% or so of the homeless people were Native people.
Okay.
You know? And but Anchorage itself is a melting pot culturally.
Yes.
You know, I've been told that that the top 19 schools in America, I mean the whole 50 states, for cultural diversity, the top 19 are all right here in Anchorage, Alaska.
That's, a lady told us that today.
120,
I was amazed.
120 nationalities represented in one school.
Right.
That's just half a mile from our house.
So think about that, friends. You have a high school here that 120 separate people groups are represented in that one high school. And out of all the United States, 19 of the top high schools that have the greatest diversity are right here in this city.
Right. So it's a mission field. You know,
Yes.
if you have a burden for a certain people group, very likely there is a niche right here in Anchorage.
You can find
You know,
them. You can find them here and reach. So I want you all to know that these men of God, their families, are here on assignment from the Lord. And it's a beautiful thing to see how they're reaching and loving people, and especially the homeless that a lot of people don't love. They're throwaways to a lot of people, but they're not throwaways to God. I wasn't, you aren't, and they aren't.
Amen.
And we're no better than any of them. And the Lord loved us.
Yes.
And He loves them. And because He loves them, He sends His servants to speak life to them. So, folks, thank you for joining this morning. I want you to pray for these men of God, pray for their families, pray for their ministry. And again, what I said yesterday, support missions. Amen. Whatever you do, support the missionaries you know of. Whatever church you attend, make sure you're supporting missions with a part of your income. And by that, we are able to reach our world in our day.
Amen.
So Lord bless you. This is the end of another Weekdays in the Word week. Lord willing, I'll see you on Monday. Lord bless. Have a great weekend, and let's have revival in our churches.